Okay, hello everyone. I'm Melissa from the Business Insight Center at the Rochester Central Library. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please remember to mute your microphones and enter any questions into the chat. We will be answering questions at the end of the presentation. This presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. If you've registered for the event, you'll receive an email with the presentation slides and a link to the video recording. Just a reminder that all services of the Business Insight Center and the Carlson Center for Intellectual Property are free and available by appointment only. And I would like to introduce you to Gina from the Small Business Development Center.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I apologize for a bit of a delay, but to get things started, I did want to articulate for anyone who isn't familiar with the Small Business Development Center. We are the SUNY Brockport SBDC, and we're a program affiliated with Brockport through the Business and Management Department. We are a program of the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we are the premier business assistance program that provides help to entrepreneurs, new business owners, existing business owners, and helping them with everything from inception, getting started, to sale for business growth and so on. So we can assist with business plan development. We help with startups and existing businesses. We do loan packaging is a big part of what we do. Organizational structures, and we do these webinars in conjunction with the Business Insight Center as our first Wednesday program, which runs from September to June in each cycle. And we can help with things like the MWBE certification. So clients can come in, we can advise them on their business, we can do research, we do training, and the one-to-one counseling, which can be done by phone, in person, or through a virtual meeting online. So there's lots of options. You don't have to necessarily come to our location, which is 161 Chestnut Street in downtown Rochester. We're sort of kitty corner to the Museum of Play. So I would encourage any of you out there that don't know about us and our services, know that they're free and confidential, and that we can provide you with an enormous amount of resources that can lead toward your success as a business owner. So with that, I'm very, very excited about this program. This is a topic that I've wanted to have addressed in our first Wednesdays for a very long time, because as we talk with clients about trademarks and branding and trade dress, the color of fonts and so on, color is an important aspect to your brand and how you influence people with the way that your brand looks and how you present yourself. So I am incredibly excited to introduce Sarah Flaherty. She is an expert on this topic, and I'm going to ask her to tell you a little bit more about herself, and I'm going to kick it over to her for Color Matters by Sarah Flaherty. Sarah, take it away.
Thank you. I want to thank the Central Library and SBDC for inviting me for this talk. I feel very blessed to have both groups in my life. All right, so before we get started, before I even go any further, I just want to ask you to pop into the chat and tell me what product or service you provide. So if you sell candles or accounting, please throw it in there. That will help me gear some of the conversation towards your business, and maybe I can help along the way. All right, so 2 bits of housekeeping here. First, I have a miserable cold, so I apologize upfront for my sniffles and possible cough drops in my mouth. Normally, I would not have things in my mouth during a presentation. And second, I have a cat that may try to join our meeting, so I'm armed with cough drops, and cat treats. So I'm Sarah Flaherty from Pixel Roc. I'm located in the greater Rochester area. I have many years of experience as a graphic designer. I've worked in-house ad agencies, and now as an entrepreneur. So there's a lot that I understand about design, but I don't necessarily understand accounting or legal matters. So I love these business first Wednesdays. So anyways, my business provides branding and graphic design services to small to medium-sized businesses, and I offer in-house support to usually it's larger companies, but I help out wherever folks need me. So let me look at the chat here and see what we have. Oh, I'm so excited you all put it in here. Okay, accounting, engineering, sewing, jewelry, educational, marketing, sustainability, finance, construction, online auto parts store. Interesting. Retail animal feed store. I have a cat who could use some treats. If Hi everyone. Oh, online educational toy store. These are cool, you guys. SPD services, baked goods, consulting, marketing, glass, home goods, virtual. Okay, awesome. It's like the full spectrum. All right, so we have point of purchase online, point of purchase possibly in stores, and then we have services. Great. All right. So without further ado, let's get started with color matters. So color plays a crucial role in your business. It significantly impacts how your customers will perceive your brand, which influences their purchasing decisions and how they feel about your product. So we want to choose our colors carefully because it will help differentiate your company from your competitors. So if you're interested in using colors other than your logo, interested in using colors to support your other marketing efforts, some places besides logos is your package design, your website, your business cards, social media. And I'll talk to you about all of that and how best to balance color choices in this presentation. All right. Let's see here. All right, so the agenda. So what we'll be doing is we'll talk about basic terms that you will have heard either when you were a kid, so the color wheel, and we'll talk about RGB versus CMYK, digital printing versus offset. I felt it was really important to cover that because I think a lot of people walk into a lot of this software and they're like, do I use RGB or CMYK? And it is important to note which ones to use. So I felt that was really important for us to discuss today. And then we'll talk about how to use color to impact your business and why it's important. We'll talk about how to choose your color palette and the best way to use these colors in your materials. We'll talk about the psychology of color. So what do people perceive when they see a specific color? We'll talk about accessibility. So this is something that I think a lot of people forget about and don't understand. So it's important. We want to make sure your audience can all read your social media posts, your website, your packaging. Because if they can't read your product name and what the product is, they will never pick up your product to buy or your services on your website. So, and then finally, we'll close this up with some color resources. And I have a PDF for you guys that covers everything that we talk about in the presentation. I have some YouTube videos, things that'll just give you a little bit more expansion on stuff I didn't think we could cover today. Plus,
Sarah, we're having some, oh, she's gone.
I'm back. Can you see me, hear me?
Yes. You'll have to
how
reshare your screen, but yep.
long have I been gone?
About 20 seconds.
Oh, great. Okay. All right, guys, I'm coming back.
It's like waking up out of a coma.
Oh, right? I was really on a roll there. All right, let's see what, is this the one? Yep. Is this good?
Go back one more.
One more. Oh boy, we missed that. All right, good. So you only missed that one slide?
Actually, go back one more.
Oh boy. The
Yeah, right
agenda?
there. Yeah, it's the agenda that you were talking about, and I think you were ready to switch to the next slide then.
Did I talk about the color resources and to reach out to me via LinkedIn or my website?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. I gave a nice plug there to the library that I love, and all the books that I have out right now. So, all right. Apologies for that loss of internet there. All right. So understanding the spectrum. So we'll go through the quick refresher on color properties, how to use a color wheel, when to use RGB or CMYK, digital versus offset.
Yeah, can you say what the acronyms are?
Yep, we're going to go through all of that in here. Yep,
Okay.
we'll talk about all of it. All right, so I want to go back here. And I was on a roll here too. Properties of color. So these are words that you've heard growing up as a kid probably, but you probably don't use them in your everyday language. And if you're going to be working with graphic designers or marketing agencies or marketing or ad agencies, you're going to want to understand these words. So 3 factors are responsible for the appearance of a color. So hue, saturation, and value. So the colors wheel is actually set up. So just a refresher here, that's the color wheel for everyone that probably hasn't thought about that in a few years. The color wheel is set up according to hue, which is the base color name, like sorry, I just gotta shrink everyone here. Base color name like red, orange, green. So that's your hue. When you have saturation, we talk about how bright or light a color is. So if you look at the bar there in the middle, we go from almost white to red. And in the middle, we have some pink. And then the value relates to the shade of the color. So is it dark, like a light red or a dark red? And then the tint. All right. So moving on to the color wheel. I thought this was pretty cool. Isaac Newton invented the color wheel. So it's been around for quite a long time and works beautifully. He mapped it to the color spectrum. So it's a circle relating to the color spectrum. It's the basis of color theory because it shows a relationship between colors. You can use the color wheel to help find color harmonies by using the rules of color combinations. So we have complementary colors, which are pretty much your best friend. They go really well together. They, they give you the contrast you need. So then we move on to analogous, which is adjacent. Yeah, hopefully you guys can see my little stars here. So those are the colors that are next to each other on the wheel. And then we have the triadic, which are the 3 colors positioned 120 degrees from each other. Understanding the color wheel, everything I'm telling you is to give you different tools for choosing your colors. So my colors for my brand don't exactly line up perfectly, but it is a really good starting point when you're thinking through colors, and we'll talk about all of those resources shortly. Okay, so RGB, what does it mean? Red, green, blue. It is for your screens only. So when you hop into PowerPoint or Word and you're presented with, should I use RGB or CMYK? Just pick RGB. RGB is the color values you'd want to work with. So when you choose your colors, for your brand, you're going to think about, I would work with a designer on this, the RGB, CMYK, and then Pantone, which we'll discuss in just a minute. So screens only, right? Presentations, websites, your mobile apps, social media. So when or what programs might you use? You might be using PowerPoint, Squarespace, Canva. Although Canva has a print side to it, I think that, you'll have to decide, is this print or is this screens? All right, so what's CMYK? C, cyan, magenta, yellow, and the K actually stands for black. So it's nearly black when these colors overlap. I should explain that here too. When RGB overlaps, it creates the white, which is why it's best for presentations. If you're looking for more information on that, there's lots of materials online if you're interested in that. And then CMYK, when all the colors overlap, they make it black, but it's kind of a muddy black, so we still add black to our materials. So CMYK is for printing. So think ads, brochures, business cards, posters, signage, and direct mail pieces. Think of postcards. Maybe you have some letters, some that you might be mailing out, maybe billing. So accounting, I just remember there was an accountant. So those are the points that you would use that. Okay, so what's offset printing, right? So we're dabbling here in digital printing, and if you've ever gone to produce some of these materials, you might be presented with, well, do you want to offset or digital? So digital is for producing smaller runs. I haven't produced anything in a long time, so I usually ask the printer, is it better to digital or offset? And I'll explain offset in a minute, but I always rely, so don't panic on this part. I always rely on what the printer says. The printer will come back to me and tell me what's the best value that I'll get if I go digital versus offset. All right, so what's offset? So offset is you print at large scale. So maybe you've heard people talk about they printed with Pantone or PMS or what's their spot color. So offset printing uses metal plates covered in ink to transfer images onto paper. And so what they do is they go through a run of just, so I have here this red ink, right? So that's kind of what they put on the plate, and it runs through the system, and then they run, if there's other specific inks, so let's say you have, I'll show you, this might look familiar to you, a Pantone chip. They'll run one color through, and then they'll run the other color through. Personally, I've always done, these are called 5 colors, and I've only done the Pantone with the 1 color. So for example, I threw my business card up here to show you, if I was doing business cards, this job would be a 3-color job if I was producing, 20,000 pieces of my business card. And a lot of times they'll produce just one side. So this, the diamonds here, they could be produced offset and save you a lot of money if you run those sheets through the offset printer, and then they print specifically for each individual. They print the other side in digital. So your printer will talk you through all this, but I wanted to take like that mystery away for you a little bit to help with that. So Pantone, each color has its own number. And it's used really for logos, business cards, like I said, if you're doing a brochure specific to that color. Okay. So again, knowing which option to look for. Do I want CMYK, digital printing, versus, can you guys see my mouse move around or no? Anyone?
Yeah, we can see it. It's black.
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay. So over here we have the CMYK, which would be digital printing. And then this is the Pantone chip, which is just the spot color, which is just the ink. To remind you again, digital printing is the CMYK. So really we could dive into this further, but I think if you have any more questions about it, we can talk further, but I really just work with a printer and ask them what their expertise is. Whoops. Got a little happy there. Okay. So The right color scheme could change your target's moods, making them more likely to behave in a certain way. For these reasons, you need to think carefully about colors and your overall marketing strategy if you want your brand's color palette to be effective. So, color plays a very crucial role in your business. It can significantly impact your customers, how they perceive your brand, how the colors influence purchasing decisions. So think about, sorry to the library. Don't judge a book by its cover. Um, you you often do judge the book by its cover. So you also are relating colors when you're looking at a brand. And you want to use colors to differentiate your company from your competitors. So if you go to the grocery store and you're selling soup, you want to go to the grocery store and do all your research to see, all right, what is the colors everyone's using, right? Think Campbell's and I forgot the blue one, but you'll see red and you'll see blue, and then you see a bunch of other different colors. You want to stand out, right? You want to know, you want to be different, but you also want to be within your right swim lane. So let's talk about let's see. So for brand consistency, you want to stay consistent with your colors. So when you choose colors, which we'll talk about what the best colors are to choose, or how to choose the best colors and how many colors to use in a minute, you want to think about why the colors are important. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So the question was, let's go back here. Is color important? Yes, it is. You can use color to convince consumers to feel or react in a particular manner. It helps elevate your brand with impactful and unified designs. So color is a big element to tie it all together. So if you have, you have a presence on social media, you have your website, you have your point of purchase display, which is, at the grocery store. You want that all to have the same look and feel. And we'll go through that in a minute about some examples besides Barbie, but I thought Barbie was a really good one. So if you associate a specific color with your product or service, you can make a strong statement about your brand. So Mattel did this, right? They always had Barbie was pink, but now Mattel has actually trademarked the Pantone 219C. Don't use it, they'll sue you. And they call that Barbie pink. So the color pink has been going through a bit of a revolution. Personally, I never loved pink. All of a sudden, in the last couple years, I've really been drawn to like the high, bright pinks. And I've noticed them. And we'll talk about my own brand in a minute. But the color pink has gone through this revolution, and people are thinking of pink differently. So pink no longer dictates femininity. Thankfully, we're not stuck in the pink is girl, blue is boy anymore. We have expanded, and all colors of the rainbow are perfect. So what Mattel did is they almost gave pink this new meaning, and this color pink has this meaning: rebellion, confidence, equality. So rather than reject the pink completely, many people are claiming the color on their own terms. And that's pretty amazing for color to have that kind of an impact on a culture. All right, so choosing color. Color plays a crucial role in your branding, as I talked about. We want to be sure your color is aligned with your brand. So you need to know your voice and who you are as a company. And you want to stay consistent, like I said earlier, across all products, campaigns, point of purchase, everything. To get started, I would personally select my complementary colors, which we talked about earlier, are the ones across the wheel from each other. You want to test your colors. So you want to test it with people to be sure the color scheme is giving the intended effect. Are they feeling, if your brand, you're selling cookies and your brand is maybe all black and silver, but you're selling fun, happy cookies, your brand doesn't necessarily match your product. So you want to think about that. I mean, not to say you can't use the black and the silver for fun products, but you have to think about how you would use that and how that plays with your brand. So you have to put it all in one package for your brand and the voice of your brand. Okay, color is really very, very subjective. So you want to be aware of your personal association with colors as they can inhibit your message. So the meaning and emotions of colors depend on its creative use, culture, and audience. So your personal memories can play a part in how you perceive a certain color. So if your father always wore a certain shade of blue and you loved your dad, then that color would have a good association for you. It might seem warm and friendly, but also someone else might not perceive that color blue as, you know, a nice color for relating to your product. So when you choose your colors, think about the meaning and how they are perceived externally to your product, to your brand. All right, target audience. So you also want to think about, this is huge, that I actually wrote a whole thesis on this about culture and using culture elements such as color and symbolisms, symbols, and how that can be perceived in different cultures. So Western cultures, red evokes excitement, danger, urgency, and love. But when it's combined with red, or sorry, when red's combined with green, it becomes festive. And perhaps you think of Christmas. India, red's associated with purity because the brides traditionally will wear wedding dresses. Latin America, red can also have religious connotations when combined with white. Red evokes danger and caution in the Middle East. And in China, it symbolizes luck and happiness, which is one reason apparently Chinese restaurants in the US will use that color, and it also the color of the Chinese New Year. I actually got that data from Ericsson.com. So they have a lot of really good research that you could, lean on. All right. So this slide is not to overwhelm you. I also, by the way, have a link to that. If you reach out, I'll send you that as part of my resources. So don't be overwhelmed with this. I just wanted to show you, like, it can have positive and it can have negative connotations with the spectrum. So I'll just pop out a few of them. So red might, sparks excitement. Orange blends the energy of red with the happiness of yellow. Yellow radiates warmth, optimism. Green is growth, health, renewal. Purple conveys luxury, wisdom, creativity. Just don't let this overwhelm you. This is just guidance to help guide you. So when I chose my colors, I went and tried to associate. Oh, what's that? I think we need someone else mute. This guide will be very helpful to you. All right. Another way to pull to get inspiration is to take from nature. So there's a lot in design and nature that correlate to each other. And if you look at nature and you take a photograph and you love this view, maybe you can get colors from it. There's an eyedrop tool, which I'll show you later, that you can use online to pull those colors from, to get the color values that you could then build your brand off of. So let's say your business, you want it to have this feeling of joy and happiness. So this is a picture of tulip fields in Holland. And if you look at the colors that I dropped here, I just did this in PowerPoint, actually, the colors right in the photo, from the photo. Those colors look really nice together. Maybe I would only pick one, or sorry, one. Maybe I only pick two, or maybe I only pick three. But it's a way to get color and inspiration, and not to get overwhelmed with what your color choices are. All right, so what is your scheme? So colors can evoke many feelings from boredom to excitement or tension to relaxation. So you want to consider your brand identity. So what's your business's core values and mission? I actually did a brand framework. You might want to go write that down and Google it. I did not put that in the resources. Brand framework is a document that me sat down, I went through it, and it asks questions about, what do I want people to think about my business? What color, not what colors, but how do I want to be perceived? That has been my guide from day one. Once I put that all down on paper, I go back to it when I need to do anything relating to my business. I go back to it. And when I did my brand framework before I ever chose a single color. So you want to figure out what's your core values and mission. What image are you seeking to project to your target audience? So you want to consider your industry and your competitors. What's the industry standard and how do you differentiate yourself from the competitors? So you need to research your audience. So what colors are they likely to be drawn to? What emotions do you want them to feel when they see your business's branding? And you want to adhere to the principles of color theory that we talked about earlier. So you want to choose one color scheme as a framework to create the various color combinations, and these combinations will make up your brand palette. So most brands will have a primary color scheme, and then they'll have a secondary color scheme. So, excuse me, what it'll be is, let's say, trying to think of one. I don't know. We'll go through, actually, I have some examples. I'll talk you through those in a minute. All right. So, dare to be different, right? You want to be different. Again, you want to fit in, but you want to be different. You want to stand out, but you want to be relatable to the product that you're selling or the service. So here's my, a piece of my logo, and I chose the colors very carefully. Did they work well together? Did they, did they bring me the feeling I wanted to be perceived as? So I went and did some of the research, and my personality is the pink. So I love to laugh, and pink is humor, pink is kindness, pink is joy. The blue is actually, it happens to be my favorite color, but that's not why I chose it. It actually just works really well with that pink. And it's a likable color. It's perceives trustworthy. And then where those two bars cross over is the purple. It's a deep purple, but it represents creativity. So as a designer and as someone who likes to bring joy and humor into all my interactions with my customers, this is like 100% me, and my brand. But it took me a while to get these colors, right? I did a lot of thinking about my values and my personality, my competitors. That's the other thing. So my competitors, I rarely saw pink. There's a lot of different colors. Even I thought about, how are other designers developing their logo? What's everybody doing? Am I standing out? All things to consider. Okay, so the 60-30-10 rule. This is a really good basic rule for you to use to think about when you're choosing your colors. So you want 60%. Let's say we're building a mobile app. You want 60% of that to be this white here. I think it's like a little bit of a gray. But then your secondary color would be 30%, and then your accent color is going to be 10. So here's an example. You don't want your brand to be random and chaotic. So that's what we got going on over here on our left. It's not the worst thing I've seen, but wow, when I look to the right, everything is cleaner, and a lot of this is the design, but also the colors. So the colors the background is very clean. We're in a very clean Interestingly, we're in a clean gradient type of design these days. And it's a nice little balance that we have going on out in the design community. So this is an example to show you how they put the whole kitchen sink in the before and how they removed it and they cleaned it up with some more slick styles and colors. All right, so consistency, consistency, consistency. I cannot tell you that more than this slide. Like, when you're thinking about your colors, remember to be consistent. You do not want to throw in some, random colors that just don't work well unless they're needed. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of companies that I think are good examples for you to use as a guide. I will tell you that I do a lot of research on the companies that have all the money, right? So what's Apple doing? So what is their colors? I don't want to necessarily steal from Apple, but I want to go see, they have all the money to do all the research on the psychology of colors, iconography, all of that. So use them as a good starting point to kind of check yourself. Like, is this just me liking this, or is this like current style? Right. All right. So consistent colors. So this one's Google. So if you look, they have like gazillion more products, but this is a screen grab from a couple of their products. If you notice, they have the same color palette on all of these, with the exception of this one. This green's a little different. It strays a bit, but I think that if you saw that video chat icon, you would still know that it is part of the Google brand, because if you notice this, hopefully you guys can see this little slight distinction. Your monitor might be too light, but they have this like shadow fold going on in all of their icons here, and they only use this blue, red, or yellow, and green, and you do see different shades of it. So I think they do a wonderful job of, I go to any of their products and I'm in a Google product. Okay. The Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. I thought this was a good example because this is more maybe, some of the materials you might be making are more, brochures, pamphlets. We have online situation here. This is their logo. It's probably a branded piece, like a bag. And this is their, huge banners in front. If you notice, red is their main color. They use all these other colors, right? Because it's a museum, but the splash is red. So when I come to this page or I see this brochure and I live in Boston, I know when I'm looking at a piece of art, like brochure, website, or social media, I will associate that red with that company, with that museum. Okay. I'm playing off the red, right? It's the opposite of the Museum of Fine Arts. We have Coca-Cola. Everything is red. It's this huge splash of red. Everything is bubbly. We could have like a whole nother session about symbols and illustrations. So this is just like a big splash, and really red's their only color. So if we look at this, we have red here is an accent, and then we have what is it, 5 colors here for Google. So there's no like fast rule about what color to use, how many colors, but as a person starting out, I would stick to 3. Just you don't want to go too crazy. All right. So now I want to talk about accessibility. This is really important. There's a lot which is a whole nother topic, about accessibility on websites, making sure everybody can see, everyone can read the content, whether it's, oh, this is where my brain's breaking down here. It's audio is, reading the text. So again, another topic, but we're going to talk about accessibility with colors. So 8% of your audience is colorblind. And then they have these other possible situations with how they perceive color. I love this slide because it shows what the original design looks like, and then it shows how the design has changed based on sorry, based on what illness they might have, what impairment they have. Sorry. So if we look at this first one, I'm so sorry. If we look at this first one here on the right, you'll notice that, so this is the original, you'll notice that the red's gone, right? So people with this issue have an issue seeing red. This one, it darkens it, and also no red. This one turns it all to red, and then the sky's red. So there's a tool called Adobe Color. Again, it's in my links document. It's color.adobe.com, but if you just Google Adobe Color, you will find it. And the next few slides are about Adobe Color because I think it is one of the best tools out there to help you with accessibility, choosing your colors. There's a great tool for helping with color palettes. If you take nothing away from here today, take away Adobe Color, consistency, and make sure it's your voice, your brand voice, and that you're standing out from your competitors. Okay. Contrast analyzer. So what I did here was I stuck my 2 colors from my logo into the tool to show you, yeah, my logo has those colors, but I could never in a million years use those colors together in this sort of manner. I need a different contrasting color. So my materials will have, if you notice up here, this white, you can read that, but you probably can't really read that pink, not very easily. And some of you maybe can't even read it at all. So I would never, ever use these colors together in this way, but my logo uses these colors. So I wanted to be sure you don't get paralyzed in the aspect of all of these things I'm sharing with you today. You need to just think about them individually and not get overwhelmed with that data. Let's see here. So that's their contrast checker. And this is actually, I'll talk about this really quick. Just a side note, the WCAG, if you're building your own website, take a look at that guidelines document. Maybe it's in Squarespace, I'm not sure. But if you Google that WCAG, you'll get guidelines on a lot of the rules around building your websites. Okay, so finally we have the color resources. This is all free. So everything I've shared with you today will not cost you a dime. It's all free. It's everywhere. So I have, remember I talked about, use Apple and the psychology data that they use, or that they have they've spent the money to get the psychology of colors and how best they work together. The next one that I love to use is paint swatches. So I go to Home Depot and they have like books, and yes, this is for interior design, but it helps me to think about what colors would look nice together. And it's different than looking at it on my computer. It gets me out in the world to see what colors look like in real life. Yeah, we're not going to match that Pantone or that CMYK to that paint swatch, but what we're going going to do is we're going to get those ideas from those paint swatches to then bring to our computer and develop things from there. And they have those booklets that'll be like, your living room. These are the most popular colors that work well together. Huge resource. I've taught at a couple universities, and I always send my kids to the Home Depot or Lowe's. I'm sure not a great plug for Home Depot and Lowe's, but all right. So then we have library books. So all the books that are listed below are actually, so this one, color, message and meaning, pink flamingos and yellow pages. I'm obsessed with that book. Colorscape. These are books. This Pantone one is a bit old. I actually have it myself. It's still really relevant. There's lots of books at the library. I encourage everyone to go to the library and dig around in those books, sit in that, wonderful little section of your local library and just dig into colors. Like I said, these books are out of the library at the moment because I have them. So if you're in Monroe County, I will be delivering them tomorrow, maybe today. All right. And then, like I said, the big corporations. So big corporations, like I said, they spend a lot of money building their guidelines, which we haven't even talked about, which brand guidelines are a document that when you work with a designer, you can do it yourself. If you're, just doing everything on your own, you want to put aside a sheet of paper that lists what's your fonts, what's your colors, what the numbers are, RGB, CMYK, Pantone. This is a great resource online. It's free brand guidelines. Again, also on that PDF that I can send out. I love this tool. It helps me to think through when I work with clients on how to build their brand. I will go there and be like, okay, that's how Ace Hardware, let's say I have a customer for hardware. There's so much data in there about photos, like how the photos should look, what font they use. Don't copy Ace, but use it as a guide. Use it as, okay, what's other companies doing and how can I use those resources? Adobe Color. So this is a screen grab of what I was sharing with you earlier about my love for Adobe Color. So they have explore, create, trends. The lab is really interesting. So go in there, explore what's going on in that website, and you will walk away, hopefully, with a lot of good information and not be overwhelmed. All right, so this is the color picker. Oops, my thing slid off. This is the color picker that I was telling you about on Chrome. It's just a little widget that you can download, and what you can do is pull colors from websites. So let's say you're trying to do research on I forgot, like there was a sewing business. So what are all the sewing businesses? You don't have to stay local. You can go look for sewing businesses all over the country, and you can go in there and pull those color values from there to see, okay, these are the colors my competitors are using. Am I going to be in the same market as those folks? So there was the accountant. Locally, what are the color values that your local competitors are using? And you want to be different, right? You don't want to look like, I don't know, Joe's Accounting. You want to look like you. So that's a great way to get those resources, those color values. Again, all for free. And I just want to say, selecting your brand's colors demands a deep dive into the emotions that you want to evoke, and the message you want to convey. So it's about understanding your unique preferences and expectations of your specific audience. Your colors should mirror your promise to your clients and the experience they can expect from engaging with your brand. So I took that very seriously when I built my brand. And that was a very important part of all my decision making. So as we wrap up, remember that color is just one part of your branding strategy, but its impact is profound. So whether you're refreshing an existing brand or building a new one from scratch, thoughtful consideration of the psychology of color can elevate your brand and foster a deeper connection with your audience. So please reach out to me in LinkedIn or via my contact page. I gave you a little QR code there if you want to try that instead of the Pixel Roc, but pixelroc.com. And then my social is also on there as well. I'd love to hear from you. I'm totally happy to send out that PDF to anyone that reaches out. It's a great resource of everything I use today, and then also everything that we covered in the presentation. So it's been a pleasure meeting with you all, and I hope our paths cross again. So I think there were some questions, right? Let's see if I can find those.
Sarah, thank you. And that PDF could go to Melissa, and then she can email it to the people present here.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. I still want you guys to reach out though. Okay. I'll send it to Melissa too. All right. Do we have any questions?
I didn't see any questions in the chat other than Gina's contact information.
Yours is there.
Oh, here's one. How does color affect design, minimalism versus maximalism?
So I think what exactly are you asking?
I read it exactly how it was spelled.
Oh no, I thought it was Kay. I'm sorry, I thought it was Kay talking.
It was Kay. I'm the one talking though. She's the one who asked the question.
Coke uses primarily red. Gotcha. So I understand now what you're asking. So yeah, so it's a big impact if one color is being splashed everywhere. Let's think of one that of course I can't think because I'm on the spot, but like all I can think of are the yellow trucks that are orange. Whenever I see them, I know they're the yellow brand. Hertz, right? Is it Hertz that's yellow? So I know I have a Hertz truck in the driveway if I see all yellow. I know that brand is there, and I don't even have to read the words. There's certain brands. So think of, there's a good one, Target. Red with the circles, the little Target symbol, which FYI also looks like the Corning Museum of Glass logo. I don't know if it still does, but it used to. That big splash really, it depends on your brand. If you need a big splash, or maybe your we have the sewing, the person who's doing the business with the sewing, they might want to have quieter colors because maybe their audience is not the big huge splash of color. We have a construction contractor. You might want to think about doing big bold colors, so when your trucks are on site, everyone knows who you are. I just did a job for a customer. It's actually pink because that was their color palette, pink and orange. And I was like, you want to make an impact, you want people to know who you are, let's make your truck pink. Like, people know who you are, like they're not going to miss you. So you want to think of like how you want to be perceived, I guess. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay.
Okay, is there a max on the number of colors used?
Yeah, so no, there's not a max. There's like we looked at Google, they had, was it 5 colors? Personally, I would say to you, as a small business entrepreneur, do not go more than 3. You are going to get messy. It is going to get distracting. You want to have, my opinion, 1 big color or 2 big colors and then an accent color. And then that's your primary color palette. And if you feel that you need more subtle accent colors, so maybe you do a lot of PowerPoint presentations, you would want to stick with, maybe if you needed a 4th and 2nd color for kind of having those options for communication to your customer, you would want, you know, a subtle, maybe orange and green, but you would only use them for maybe the bullets. Oh, I see this question here. From the emotional spectrum of color, what color is used most often? I have no idea. That's a great question. That is the internet will have to tell us. Erickson might have that. It's I think it's ERIKSEN .com. I'm gonna put that in. Oh, I corrected it. I think that's the URL. They might have something there. Just Google that and you will get tons of information. There's so much information. I wish I had this information when I started out as a designer. It's all online. Any other questions?
That looks like the last one.
Okay, great.
Okay, so wrap this up. Oh,
So
oh, wait,
Sarah,
last question.
Oh yeah, no problem.
One just popped up, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
Did you have a picture on business cards? I can see these chats now.
mm,
That's a good question. I don't typically see it anymore. It depends on your business. So if your business is to have your face in front of people, maybe you're a presenter. Yeah, you should have your picture on there. Maybe. There's no fast rule for it. I haven't noticed any pictures. I've been doing a lot of networking these days. A lot of people, they just have very basic business cards. So one thing that I think stands out on a business card, I'll go back to mine. Let's see here. I actually contemplated it, but I didn't end up going with it because one thing I've noticed where if you see a bunch of business cards together, one thing that stands out is if one side is just a vibrant, the whole side is just full color. So it's, you know, maybe it's their color is yellow and the logo and the text are white. So those folks, I've noticed those stand out really well when I see them with other business cards. I didn't elaborate on this, but I actually went with my colors on the back page using the pattern of my logo. But what I did was, I can't think of the word, but first of all, the paper is incredibly soft. Like I wanted it to be, when you handed you my card, I wanted you to feel, you know, the feeling of exclusivity, of elegance. And the pink and the blue on that back page there, those are actually raised. So when you touch it, that part of my card is the ink, the way I had it produced, where I had it printed was like a little bit of a sheer, I can't think of the right word that goes over it, but like a little bit of a softness to it. So I don't use pictures. I haven't seen pictures in a long time, but that's probably the industries I'm interacting with.
So Sarah, there was a question about the emotional spectrum of color. So according to ChatGPT, in the emotional spectrum of color, blue is the color used most often. It is frequently associated with feelings of trust, dependability, and calmness. Many brands use blue in their logos and marketing to convey a sense of reliability and professionalism, especially in industries of technology, finance, and healthcare. So blue's vitality and positive emotional association makes it one of the most commonly used colors in branding.
Awesome. Thank you, Gina. That's awesome. Thank you for looking into that. If you see here, I put up on the slide a bunch of logos, and in the color wheel where they land, this is I can't see. It says like ignitebrands.com is where I found that slide. There's all sorts, not that slide, but that photo. There's all sorts of resources out there to show you what everyone, you know, what colors are with each brand.
Fantastic. Sarah, this was wonderful.
Oh,
Lots to
good.
think about. Gave us a really deep dive into the concepts of thinking about color when branding our companies, and has more to do with who your audience is than, what we like per se. So knowing that you have not been feeling well, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this presentation. It was wonderful, and we thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. I wish I had more energy, but I I appreciate this, and I was really looking forward to today. So thank you so much. Oh, this is nice. Thank you guys for saying thank you. I appreciate it.
With some friends, we had some SBDC folks on, and Susan Rodriguez, who does similar work to Sarah, and it's great to see that kind of level of interest in this program. So I think it was a hit.
That's awesome. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. And thanks for bearing with me in this cold.
Yeah. Back to you, Melissa.
Hey, just wanted to thank Sarah again for speaking with us today. This recording will be on YouTube in the coming week, as well as a copy of the slides and maybe a copy of that resource PDF. And anybody who's registered, it'll get directly emailed to you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.